guys, welcome back to my channel. I did plan on like looking super cute for you guys, but I am a wife and a mom, so time is almost never on my side. Anyways, I'm gonna try to get like straight to it so I'm not wasting too much time. The hubby is at work and my baby is asleep, so I am gonna be drinking some wine while going through this because guys, it is stressful. The story is stressful itself. Anyways, back in 2013, I'm gonna say. Yes, it was the end of 2013. I packed my stuff and I headed for the United States, guys, all by myself. People who knew me in high school would probably know this, but I had talked about like coming to America for like the longest time. It's just something that I always wanted to do. I don't know why. I just felt drawn to America for some reason. So I decided to do an internship. For those of you who don't know, I did go to college for hotel management, and that's what I graduated in. And so I came to the United States for this internship, this hotel management internship. And this was in St. Louis. So when I got there, well, I got here to America. I already had a boyfriend back home. And initially when I left, we had decided that we were gonna like try to make the whole long distance thing work, which that's just something that you do when you're young. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not gonna say that like long distance never actually works, but we were just like young and thinking we could make it work like in two different countries for an entire year. That's how long I was supposed to be in the United States for. I was on a J1 visa and the visa was just for 1 year. So he's like, oh, we can get through this. And I felt the same way because we were young and we were in love. So we thought we could make it work. So when I got to the United States, everything was good. I was a little homesick just because I am like very close with my family. I'm very close with my mom and my sisters. So it was like a little bit hard in the beginning. My relationship quickly fell apart, like within a matter of, I'm gonna say like 3 months. Cause, okay, that's another story for another day. I'm not gonna get into like how we broke up or why we broke up. But moral of the story is, the long distance thing didn't work. Just because it wasn't like just regular long distance. Like he was in a whole different country. I was in a whole different country. We had a huge time difference between us. We were young. He was young. He didn't even have a job at the time. So overseas calls are super expensive. So our relationship was basically just through Facebook Messenger. And even then it wasn't like a complete like back and forth, like messaging each other. Like he'd leave me messages and I'd like see them the next day, and then by the time that I woke up he was going to bed, and then I'd send him a message and leave it there for when he woke up. It just was a mess. Anyways, after that relationship I got into another relationship with somebody else who was actually my roommate. That's another long story. But as interns we all lived in this big apartment building, and almost all of us had roommates. There'd be like 3-4 people in a room. And my apartment, there was 3 of us. There was Godalyn and another guy who was also actually South African, but we didn't know each other prior to coming to the United States. So with me being away from my boyfriend who was like so far away, and him being away from his girlfriend who was also far away, we were like in the same shoes. We started to like hang out a lot, and like I said, we were roommates. I mean, we didn't share like the same room, obviously. Like he had his own room, and me and my other roommate Godalyn, we shared a room, but he was a guy, so he was in his own room. We didn't share a room with him. Anyways, we started to like spend a lot of time together, and we ended up, I guess, catching feelings. That's a story for another day. If you want to hear about that, let me know down below, because it's actually quite a crazy story. But yeah, we ended up trying out a relationship, and it did not end well, guys, but it ended. So mind you, I'm telling you all of this because everything kind of ties into each other. So I am now, like, I went through 2 different relationships and had just got out of 2 breakups, like literally back to back. So, and again, guys, I wasn't dating these guys at the same time. I broke up with my boyfriend from home, and then I was in a relationship with my roommate, and then I broke up with my roommate. So it's like two relationships back to back, two breakups back to back. So I was not by any means looking to get into another relationship. That was like the last thing on my mind. In my mind, I was just like, you know what? I have 6 months left in the United States. Let me not bother myself with these relationships. I've literally been in relationships back to back, and they both did not end well, like back to back. So I need to just chill on the relationship stuff. Whew, guys, let me take a breather. So I decided to take a break from relationships and just kind of enjoy myself. So at the time I had another friend. Her name was Elizabeth. She was from Ireland. Yeah, she was from Ireland. And she was on the same internship as me. There was a bunch of us guys. There were people from Zimbabwe, a guy from China, people from Turkey, Ireland, like just people from all over the world. And we were all working at this hotel as interns. We were all in the same program. And we all lived in the same building. Obviously different apartments, but the same building. So we all kind of like just got along. So my friend Elizabeth and I would go out all the time. This was like after my 2 breakups. We would go out all the time. I was clubbing. I was having a good time, meeting people, but just like not really looking for a relationship or anything like that. I just wanted to have a good time for the remainder of my time in the United States, because my visa, like I said, was only going to be for 1 year. So try to keep up, guys. What happened? So okay, yeah, during that time, I should have wrote notes, because I'm like that. Like, I cannot focus on one thing. So one of the chefs that worked at the hotel where I was doing my internship, he lived in the same building as well. And he was having a barbecue over at his place. And he had invited all the interns. And so, like I said, I had broken up with the guy who was my roommate. Well, he was my ex-boyfriend at that time. And we were all invited to the barbecue. So I was there with my other friend Jess, and she was also going through relationship problems, and I was fresh out of my breakup. And so like when my ex-boyfriend came into the apartment that the barbecue was happening at, I decided to leave, because we had like, it was a bad breakup. It wasn't like the worst. It was just something where he did something that was like awful, and then I just like kind of stopped talking to him. But it was like painful just because we were like really close before that. Like before we even caught feelings, we were like this. We had become best friends. For us to even like start dating, like everybody had already assumed that we were, and I think that's what kind of like sparked everything. Because everyone was like, you two are too close. There must be something going on between you guys. But really, we were like really close, and we're like just best friends. So it wasn't like just losing a boyfriend. Like it was kind of like losing a best friend too. So like it was a bad breakup. So we were not speaking at the time. So when he came into the party, the barbecue, I left. Jess and I left. So when we left, we went to this community area of the apartment building. This apartment building was, I'm going to say like a luxury apartment, I'm going to say. Because we had like 2 gyms. We had a rooftop pool. And we had this community center where there was like a lounge where you could go and watch TV, and you had free Wi-Fi. There was computers, all that kind of stuff. And then just outside of that was like another like seating area on the outside. So there was like this like long table with like a bench on either side. And so when Jess and I came outside, there was this guy sitting on the other side of the bench, of the table on the bench, but like facing away from us. So we came and sat on the opposite side and faced away from him too. So we're kind of like back to back, if that makes sense. I hope you can picture that. Anyways, this guy turns around and he says, oh, sorry, that seat is taken. So we turn around and we're looking at him like, what? And then he laughs and he's like, oh, I'm just kidding. So I guess that was just his way of like trying to start a conversation with us. So we kind of like laughed it off and continued to speak about like whatever we were talking about. Like I said, we were both going through relationship problems. And so he turns around and he's like, you have a bit of an accent. Where are you from? And he wasn't like rude about it, like interrupting us while we're speaking. I forget how he like put himself in the conversation, but he kind of did. And then he was like, you have an accent. Where are you from? So I told him that I was from South Africa. This is something that happened to me a lot, guys. Like people would ask me all the time, like, oh, you have an accent. where are you from? And there was just kind of like a great conversation started. Like, we would start conversations all the time. So yeah, that's how we started talking. So I told him I was from South Africa, and then, like I said, that's a great conversation starter, because then it just invites a follow-up question and then a whole conversation after that. So we had like just a brief conversation about nothing really, and he told me he's from New York and he also just moved to St. Louis, and he actually lived in the same building as us. He was on the 6th floor and I was up on the 22nd floor. So yeah, brief conversation with the guy, and then we went our separate ways. Like, Jess went home, I went back to my apartment. End of that. And then the second time I saw him again in the elevator. This time it was also just like a quick hi, bye, how you been? Good to see you again, that type of thing. Like I told you guys, I literally had just come out of 2 relationships back to back. So I was really not looking at anybody like, oh, you're fine, or oh, I should like speak to this guy, or, you know, like I wasn't thinking anything. Like I wasn't even wondering like if he's feeling me or anything like that. It just was like just a guy in the building. Like everyone was nice to everybody in the building. Yeah, like everybody was just nice to everybody, and I just thought he was just nice, which, yeah, I was nice to him too. So the third time I run into him again, and he's at the same spot this time where we had met the first time. I was by myself this time and he was there by himself. And then we started to talk again. I don't remember about what, just like small, we would make small talk all the time. And then this time there was this thing called Summer Jam happening in St. Louis. And Summer Jam was like this thing where a lot of celebrities would come, and it was like basically a concert with like a lot of different artists that would come. So yeah, that was happening. So I ended up telling him about it, like, hey, we're going to the Summer Jam this weekend. You should totally come. No, actually, it was like that same day. Summer Jam was happening that same day. Yeah, I was like, you should come. Summer Jam is happening and we're going tonight. You should come. So he was like, sure, that would be great. Because I'm thinking, like, he's from New York. He doesn't know a lot of people here yet. I'm from South Africa. I don't know a lot of people here yet. Maybe we could just like hang out and show each other around. And there was like not even like show each other around. Like, we were a bunch of interns, like I said. There was a bunch of us that were all cool with each other. So it was kind of like just bringing him into our circle, since he's also not from St. Louis and he just recently moved here. Or there. So he's like, yeah, sure, I'll come. And then we exchanged numbers, and that's when I got his name, because I took his number down. I'm like, I don't even know your name. What's your name? So he gives me his name and I give him my name, and we plan to meet later that day with everybody else. It wasn't just like me and him going to the concert. Like I said, I was trying to just bring him into our circle. I was not thinking of like dating or anything like that. So that day, a lot of like I said, my roommate and I, that was my ex-boyfriend, like we had a lot of mutual friends just because we were best friends before we started dating. So a bunch of our friends were like going with him, and there was like more so like the male part of our friends were going with him, and then the female part of our friends were going with me, because we were not speaking to each other. It was like kind of awkward. So at that time he had already met somebody else and she was going with them, so I didn't want to be around my ex with his new girlfriend when I'm not even speaking to him, you know what I mean? What happened next? Oh, okay, so his friends, our friends that went with him, they went, and then the people that were supposed to go with me, like each and every one of them flaked. And my other roommate, the girl roommate, Godeline, who actually was a good friend of mine at that point, she had to work. She ended up picking up a shift, so she couldn't go. So guys, that just left me and Larry, right? And I had like literally just met him not so long ago, and so it was weird. And then I was just like, you know what, he and I could still go, because I really still wanted to go, you know. I don't want to give this guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but my roommate, I'm just gonna call him my roommate throughout the entire thing. So I don't want to give my roommate the satisfaction of him getting to go to Summer Jam with our friends, and then I can't go. You know what I mean? So I still wanted to go. So if it was just gonna be me and Larry, that would have been fine too. And then he texted me also, and he's like, his friend from New York just came over to surprise him. He didn't know he was coming. He's there with his kids, so now he can't leave him and kind of like go to Summer Jam with me. And I was just like, great, well, now I don't get to go. So I text him and I'm just like, well, everybody else flaked on me, so I guess that's fine. I'm not going anymore anyway. So he's like, well, if you want to hang out, we can still hang out later. Like, just let me know. I can come over and we can just like kind of kick it. And I'm thinking to myself, sure, why not? Like I said, my roommate had already moved on to somebody else and they went to Summer Jam with our friends. And I won't lie, I was salty about it. So, because we had literally like just broken up, like it was still fresh. We were not speaking. So I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna hang out. I'm not gonna sit here by myself and like just think about them having a good time while I'm sitting in the apartment by myself. So I'm just like, okay, well, my other roommate, Godalyn, she gets off work at 11. We could all just hang out. Like, again, I don't know if like his mind was like, I don't know what his mind was at basically. I don't know if he was like looking at me like, oh, I want to start a relationship with this girl, or I like this girl. Like I said, to me, like everybody was just friendly with everybody. Like relationships and all that kind of stuff was the last thing on my mind. So like I kept including him in like group activities, like not really trying to make it seem like I'm inviting him somewhere so it can just be me and him kind of thing. So I told him that my roommate was getting off work at 11. That's my girl roommate. And that we could all just like hang out and have a drink or whatever. And so he was like, yeah, that'll be cool. And then he sends me a text. This was around like, I'm gonna say like around 7. And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna come over in a few. So do you want me to bring anything with me when I come over? So I was just like, you know what? I have this big bottle of vodka. If you wanna bring like a mixer, that would be great. So he comes over and we're listening to music in my apartment. Drinking. We had the hookah going. It was just like, just really, really good vibes. I won't lie, we vibed really, really, really well. Like we just clicked. Like we had been friends forever. Like we had the same taste in music. I don't know, the conversation just flowed and everything was just like perfect. Like like I said, it seemed like we were friends for like forever, you know, like it didn't feel like somebody that I had like recently just met. But then again, I feel like if it was me looking at him in a way like this could be potential bae, I probably would not have been as comfortable as I was, just because like my mind was not there at all. So whenever my best friend came back, who was my roommate, the girl roommate, whenever she got back from work, she just took a shower and she got dressed, and then she came and she joined us. At some point of the night, we went outside, Larry and I, and his friend that had visited him from New York was outside. And he started like talking to us, like I met him and we're talking to him or whatever. And he asked me if I like had tried this drink. I forget what the name of the drink was, but it's some blue drink. And I told him no, I hadn't tried it. So he's like, oh, I have it in the apartment. You should totally try it. I'm like, okay, you should come upstairs and join us. We're all just hanging out. So he was like, okay, great. So he came upstairs to my apartment. We're all drinking and we're having a good time. And I forget who came up with the idea to go out to the club. So we ended up going to the club. And again, we were dancing, having a good time. Like we were just like old friends. That's what it felt like. Like we were just old friends. Where I did start to like suspect that, oh, I think this guy actually kind of likes me, was when this guy that I also knew. This was like a different time in my life, guys. I guess I was just going through my hot phase. I guess I was just like really hot back then. Like I told you, I had just gotten out of 2 different relationships. There was somebody else who was like, I guess, kind of trying to get with me at the time. He was somebody that I knew. Nothing was really going on between us. He was just somebody that liked me, that I knew liked me. So he was drunk and he was just acting a fool, like just all over me. And so Larry was just like asking if I was okay, like do I want him to like kind of tell him to leave, because he was being kind of disrespectful too. I guess he like thought that it was a double date, because it was me, Larry's friend, and then my roommate, Godalyn. So yeah, he was just kind of being disrespectful, like coming around us and like all over me. At one point, he even almost burnt me with a cigarette. He was just like acting super rude and obnoxious. and it was just crazy. So I told him, no, don't worry about it, he'll just go away or whatever. So he ended up leaving us alone. So the rest of the night went great, and then on our way home we kind of like talked about like meeting up the next day, because we already knew we were going to be hungover. You know those nights where you get like so lit that you just know the next day you're going to be super hungover. So it was one of those nights, and we talked about how we were gonna go out the next day and get something to eat, and we're gonna basically go for brunch. You know, when you're hungover the next day, you want to eat something super greasy. So yeah, we had planned to do that, and then the next day, I didn't even think what would happen. I thought it was just like drunk talk. You know how when you drunk the night before, you talk about all these things that you're gonna do the next day, and it like never happens. So he texted me like, "Hey, are we still on for today?" And I was like, "Yeah." And at this point, like my best friend had already told me that he liked me. Like she told me that his friend that had visited him from New York told her that he was feeling me. So at this point, like I already knew. Hadn't quite decided what I was gonna do with that yet, but point is, I knew. And so we go to this place where they sold like it was a restaurant, like a pizza restaurant, but like not just any pizza. It was like Chicago style deep dish pizza. Like I said, we had been drinking the night before, so we were wanting something like greasy, like to cure the hangover. So we went there, and then we all kicked it, like the four of us that were partying the night before. And after that, after we were done eating, he went to his apartment, I went to mine. We just said we'd see each other later. I went and I took a nap. And he went, I think that's the day that his friend was leaving. So he kind of like saw his friend off because his friend was going back to New York. And so yeah, after his friend left, like he texted me again, like, what am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come upstairs, I'm about to watch a movie. So he comes back to my apartment and we watch a movie, and what happened? Oh, we're watching the movie, and then we start to, like, after the movie ended, we were like laying on my bed because we did not have couches or anything. We were supposed to only be in the United States for a year. We were not about to buy no couches and all of that stuff. We were just trying to get stuff that would get us through until the end of the year when our internship ended and our visas expired, and then we'd go home. So we didn't have couches or anything like that. So we were like laying on my bed and we were watching movies. At this point, like nothing's going on between us. I just know that he likes me. And that's it. So we're watching the movie. After the movie ends, we get to like talking about am I seeing anybody? Is he seeing anybody? Do we see this going anywhere? And all of that kind of stuff. So I made it clear from the beginning, like if we're gonna do something, as in like be more than friends, that's what it's gonna be. Like, you're my boyfriend. I don't do the whole talking stage thing. It's either we're together or we're friends and just getting to know each other. But there's no in between for me. I don't do that whole friends with benefits thing, and I don't do the whole, oh, we're just getting to know each other, but at the same time we're doing stuff that couples do. That whole thing is confusing to me. So from the beginning, I like for a person to make themselves clear, like what are your intentions? What are you trying to get out of this? Are we like together or we're not together? So we decided, like, what the heck, let's try this whole relationship thing out and get to know each other, like within the relationship. So yes, guys, we started dating that day, and then we had our first kiss that day, and then after that we like kind of got out of bed. This is around now, I'm gonna say like 8 p.m. We got out of bed and we went to get something to eat, because at this point, like, it's like past dinner time now, and we had gone out earlier that day, like I said, for like brunch. So we were going out for dinner this time. We didn't even like try to put on stuff to like look cute. We just like went to and grab something to eat, like literally up the street. Went to this bowling place called Flamingo, and then we had something to eat there. And the whole time we were kind of like playing a game of 21 questions, where he'd ask me a question and I would answer, and then ask him a question and he would answer, like just really trying to get to know each other. And like I said, like the whole time with him, guys, like the conversation always just like flowed. It felt like he felt like somebody that I had known like almost my entire life. Like we didn't have like any awkward moments. We laughed a lot of the time. We had like just so much fun when we were together. So we got back from there. He went to his place. No, he came back to my place, and I think we watched like another movie, and we ended up just falling asleep. And he had work the next day, and I had work too, but I had work at like that day in the evening. So he goes to work in the morning, and like I said, he had spent the night at my place. Nothing happened, guys. We literally like, just fell asleep, and so he woke up and he went to work the next day, and like everything with him was like so different. Like even like when you meet somebody new and when you start dating somebody, a lot of the time like you're wondering like who's gonna text who first. Like I don't want to be the one who texts first. With me and him, we like didn't have any of that. We were like everything was just natural. So the next day, I think I had texted him like, how'd you sleep? Did you make it to work on time or whatever? And then he texted me back, and then the whole day that day we're just texting. And this was like a daily thing. After that, we were together all the time, and when we were not together, we were like texting all the time. So we're like 1 month into our relationship now. Fast forward, we're like 1 month into our relationship, and like I said, everything was like so different. Everything moved so fast. He had given me the key to his apartment because after we like established our relationship, I would like go to his place a lot and go and sleep there. Like I said, we lived in the same apartment building. He was on the 6th floor, I was on the 22nd floor. So I would go downstairs and like sleep in his apartment a lot because he didn't have any roommates. I had roommates. So yeah. So just for our privacy, like we would go to his place a lot. We would come to mine too sometimes, but we're mostly at his place at this point. Like I said, we're inseparable together every day. I was like always sleeping over at his place. Yeah, like we're just inseparable. So after like a month later, he gave me the key to his apartment. Like everything moved fast and everything was like so different with him. Like I had never felt that secure in a relationship, guys. Like I just knew that it was just me and only me that he was like seeing. He didn't even have like a lock on his phone or anything, and I won't lie, I went through it like once or twice, and he was like talking about me to his friends because like I said, he had moved from New York, so most of his friends were in New York, and he would like talk about me to his friends and like how much he really likes me and all of that kind of stuff. So like I just felt secure. Like I knew how he felt about me, and like he had given me the key to his apartment to come there whenever I want to. Like even if he was asleep and I was getting off work and I didn't feel like sleeping in my room, then I could just like literally get into his apartment and take a shower and get into bed with him, which I would do sometimes. Like I would literally get off work and decide, you know what, I think I'm just gonna go and sleep at his place, and I would use my key and get in there. So at this point, like guys, we have not been intimate. We were in a relationship where we was taking things slow, even though like everything was moving fast as far as like our feelings. We were still like in that department. I'm just like that in that department. Like I don't want to like, I don't know, I don't give myself to anybody like too soon, just because I'm like one of those people that like really fall in love after that, and like I don't want to give myself to somebody in that way and then I find out that they don't like me like I like them. You know what I mean? So we hadn't been intimate yet. So like I said, a month later we did kind of get intimate. Like before that, guys, I had like been talking about him to my friends at work, and like everybody at work knew that I was seeing somebody, and everybody was just like, we had like a lot of mixed, like there were some people who were like so happy for me, and then there was like some people who were like, girl, he knows that you're only here for a year, he just using you to get some regular sex, and then because he knows you have to leave in like at this point I had like 5 months left, so like he knows that you have to leave in like 5 months, and he's not going to be tied down to that relationship anymore. Like, why are you getting your feelings involved? You know you have to leave soon. This whole thing is just like not going to end well, blah blah blah. Just like a lot of naysayers basically. So we like I said, did get intimate. This is like after like a month into a relationship, and literally guys, the next day he broke up with me. Yep, I bet you did not see that one coming. Oh, guys, I need a drink for that one. I was literally up at the rooftop pool with my friends, and he came up there with his friend. I don't think he was like necessarily looking for me. Like things had been fine. Literally the day before, we were fine. Things were fine. Like I had never been that happy in a relationship. Never felt so secure. Like everything was going great. Like, I had no idea where the whole thing was coming from, but I do know now, but I'll get to that. So he broke up with me. I was up there with my friends, and he came up with his friend. Like I said, he wasn't looking for me. He just kind of ran into me there, I guess. And so he asked me, we were all just like kind of hanging out because since he saw me there, him and his friend came and sat with us. So he asked me if he could like talk to me, and I was like, sure. And then we went into like the staircase, and I wasn't like nervous at all. Like I said, we were like this, like that was my homie, you know. Like I just did not. I was so blindsided. So he tells me, he gives me this whole spiel about how he feels like I should be enjoying my time in the United States and having fun with my friends instead of like tying myself down to a relationship. I don't have much longer left, and he just wants me to have a good time and all of that jazz. And I was like literally sitting there like,
You know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy. You know I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know that it's not.
bruh, like what? So I am actually a real freaking idiot. Like, everybody was right. This guy was just using me. We did it, and now he's just like throwing me away like I'm a piece of trash. That's all that it was about for him. Now that he's gotten what he wanted, now he's just like not wanting to talk to me anymore, and he's not wanting to be with me anymore because of that. Like, he played me, blah blah blah. That's how I was feeling. So I was just like, that is such BS, because I feel like you're breaking up with me because now we did it and that's all that you wanted, and now that you got that, now you don't want to be with me anymore. And he's just like, what? That you could not be further like away from the truth. I'm just feeling like you're not having enough fun, because I mean, you're stuck in a relationship. I want you to go out and like have a good time. You don't have much longer here, and I just want you to have a good time. And I'm like, who says I'm not having a good time? Just because I'm in a relationship doesn't mean that I'm not, having a good time. I guess like he's used to like these girls that call sleeping around a good time. Like, that's not what I do. Is like, I'm having fun with you. This is like the most fun I've had in a long time. This is the happiest that I've been for a long time, because like I told you guys, I had been like homesick before that. Like, when I got with him, like all of that went away. Like, we were two peas in a pod. Like everything was just like great when I was with him. So like, didn't understand where that was coming from. But at some point I was just like, it was a very brief conversation. I was just like, you know what, if that's how you feel, I'm not about to sit here and beg you to like stay in a relationship with me. So yeah, I'm gonna go. So as I was about to leave, he like pulled me back, and he's like, I don't want you to think that I used you or anything like that. That's not how it is. Like I said, I just want you to have a good time, and I want to make sure that you're good. I'm like, I am good. I told you that. He's like, okay, then let's continue our relationship. Basically, I don't remember the exact words, but basically, our breakup lasted like 3 seconds, guys. We ended up getting back together like right on that staircase. I later found out that he actually had broken up with me because he was just falling too fast, like too hard, too fast. And he was just feeling like it's not going to end well, just because I had to leave in a few months, guys. So he was just feeling like, okay, my feelings are like so involved in this, and this person has to leave soon. Like, what kind of a future does our relationship have, And I had always talked about like trying to come back to the United States, and then we could try to like see if we could like continue our relationship. And we had kind of like just agreed on that, but I guess he like knew like that probably wouldn't work out, because first of all, like coming back to the United States on a different visa, it didn't mean that I would be back in St. Louis. I might be like in a different state, and now I'm back in the United States, but I'm like not in the same state as him. So he just like, I don't know, felt like it just would not work out after I had left. So anyways, we got back together after like after the 3 second breakup. And then after that, he had, I guess, established that I was like all into the relationship, and I told him like, we'll deal with like me leaving when that comes. In the meantime, let's just like enjoy the little bit of time that we have together, and like, let's just forget about me leaving for a second and just like enjoy the little time that we have together to the fullest. And that's what we did. We like had fun like every single day. We were together every single day, like super inseparable. Like, that was my best friend, That was my best friend. Like we did so well, he's still my best friend, but we did so much stuff together, and like I just experienced like a whole new world of dating with him. Like he showed me how a woman like should be treated, like things that I didn't even know were a thing, you know. Because I just never had anybody like take so much time and effort into like just treating me right, you know. There were things, like I said, that I didn't even know were a thing as far as like treating a woman right. And he comes along and he's like teaching me these things, and he like had just set the bar up so high, guys. I had kept thinking about, oh my gosh, I have to go back to South Africa. Like I don't think there are any guys out there who treat women like this. Like he treated me like gold, guys. Like there was nothing that he wouldn't have did for me or anything like that. So a little bit after that 1 month of dating, he asked me to move in with him. Just, and again, he was just thinking of me and thinking like I have to go home in a few months. So he felt like if I stayed with him and not paying rent or anything like that, that would save me some money for when I do go back home. So and also, like I said, we had not much time left together, so he kind of like just wanted us to be like as close as possible and do a lot together as possible, just, you know, just to like kind of enjoy our last few months together. So this was a surprising thing to me. He ended up actually, after that 1 month of dating, he asked me to move in. And then after he asked me to move in, he wanted to introduce me to his mom and his grandmother. And then he introduced me to his sisters as well. Everybody liked me, I think, and I liked everyone. And it was great. I didn't know the purpose of that. I'm like, I'm going to have to leave soon by you introducing me to family and stuff. But yeah, he did. This has already gone on too long, so I'm just gonna like kind of like summarize what happened next. So after I met with his family and stuff, fast forward to like 2 months of us being together. So we're on month 2 of our relationship, and he just straight out told me like he doesn't want me to leave. He cannot imagine his life without me. Like since I came into his life, like everything's just been great. Like we get along like a house on fire, and he's never felt this way about anyone before. It's like he just, with me, he just knows. He knows that I'm the one, and he doesn't like want to see me go. So he thinks that we should like go ahead and get married. I was not expecting that, guys, at all. I was not expecting that at all. But I said yes. So we got engaged after 2 months of dating. And then 2 months after that, we got married. So our timeline was exactly 4 months, guys. We knew each other 4 months before we decided to tie the knot. So this is not like a fairy tale where, you know how it is in fairy tales. Just like, and they lived happily ever after. And then that's that. Like we went through a lot, guys, a lot. Because if you marry somebody in that short amount of time, you don't know them very well. Like you feel like you do. Like we thought we were so in love. Like I know now that it definitely wasn't love. It was probably like just infatuation. You cannot love somebody that you don't really know. Love is when you know somebody in and out. You like know their good sides, their bad sides, everything. And you still choose them every day. Like we had not even gotten to that part of like seeing each other in like a bad light. Like we had never been in a real fight. We had never been in like a real argument. We had never seen each other mad. We had never seen each other like sad. Like none of that. Everything with me and him before getting married was like all just gravy. You know how it is when you're like in a new relationship and you're like crazy about somebody. So the story does continue, but I'll save that for part 2 because we are already going on 40 minutes. I kept looking at the time. I'm pretty sure that you guys saw that. But that's not where the story ends. But we did get married after 4 months. That's my 60-day fiance story. We were engaged after 2 months of dating, and no, after 1 month of dating, I moved in with him and met his parents. Well, his mom and his sisters and his grandmother. And a month later, we got engaged. That's 2 months of knowing each other. And then the next 2 months, we got married, guys. Crazy, crazy story. But like I said, it doesn't end there. There was a lot that happened after that when we like sat down and we were like, oh my God, I married a stranger. Like, I don't know this person from a blue bar of soap. Like, reality set in, and it just was a train wreck after that. But I will save that for part 2. Like, if you want to know what happens next, because like I said, it's not a fairy tale. You don't just get to hear, oh, we lived happily ever after. Yeah, we did, but a lot happened after that. Like, a lot happened. So if you want to know what happened next, put it down in the comments below. If you just want to like know where we are now, also put that down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this video. Next week, I believe it's next week, we're going to New York City, and I'm so freaking excited. I am gonna be documenting that for you guys. I'm gonna be posting here, so stay tuned for that as well. This video has gone on so long. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. Subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.